Live from Fairfax, it's the Inside Scoop Virginia. All the news Virginians want to know. Here's your host.
Welcome to the Inside Scoop Virginia. My name is Shannon Sullivan, and I'm your host this evening and a local labor analyst. We're going to be talking a little bit tonight about the hotel industry. As you fly in your many destinations and you check into a hotel, it's a nice swanky establishment. You walk into the lobby, polished to the nth degree. It's shining. There's not a fingerprint on any surface. You go up to your room. There's 2 covers, 2 blankets, maybe 2 quilts on it, maybe 10 pillows. You have to actually jump up onto the bed in order to get on top. You lay back and you have a sigh of absolute comfort. Now, do you ever pause to think, what all of your comfort was worth? All maybe the sweat that went into creating your lifestyle, this nice little swanky hotel that you've spent a good bit of money to stay at. Well, I have with me some wonderful experts that are going to give us an inside look into what it takes to work in the hospitality industry and why it may not be so swanky on the inside. I have with me Carrie Salgren.
Hi.
She is an organizer for Unite Here. Maybe you can tell us what Unite Here stands for and what your organization is doing at the moment.
Hi, I'm Carrie Salgren, and I am an organizer with Unite Here, and that's the Hotel Workers Union. We represent workers in the hotel industry, but also the casino industry, as well as the textile industry, and particular cafeteria workers. We all are also within our union, so we have about 400,000 members throughout the United States and Canada and Puerto Rico.
Wow, very impressive. Now, when you're talking about the hospitality industry, who predominantly is employed in these occupations?
Well, a majority of the workers are minority workers. Here in Virginia, it's particularly Ethiopian and El Salvadorian workers, but it's also about 60% of our workforce are women.
Wow. Wow. And then the service sector, what do you describe their jobs are?
Well, in the hotel industry in particular, it's the people who you see from the moment you get out of your car. So it's the bellmen, it's the front desk agents, it's the people who clean the lobby, it's the people who cook your food, and it's the people who vacuum, make your beds.
Comfort of your foreign stays in a city, especially a destination as popular as Washington, D.C. is.
Yeah, and in Washington, D.C. in particular, there's a lot of banquet servers because there's lots of large conferences. So when you're traveling to other cities like Chicago and San Francisco for your medical conference or other industry-wide conferences, it's these same workers who are providing the hospitality.
And in these unionized facilities, it's wall-to-wall, they're all union members?
It's typically back of the house, a lot of front of the house as well. Here in Virginia, we only have 5 union hotels, as we're growing the industry here.
Okay, so as we're talking about the service industry, what is it that I guess should be understood when going to organize? What is it that people are looking for, and what is it that the union can be able to provide?
I think a lot of what workers are looking for in this particular industry, the service sector industry is really, in our economy, developing as something that you can, have a job, a secure job, as our economy is shifting away from manufacturing and the textile industry, which was a huge part of our union. A lot of what it is people want dignity in the job, in the workforce, but also everything that you would want in going into the middle class, right? Like you would want a pension.
Absolutely.
And affordable health care is a major, in a lot of our cities where we have a lot more union density, workers practically have free health care, which, for someone who's pulling in $13 an hour, that's a great benefit. And it's really a job, what these workers are fighting for, are jobs that they can support their families on.
Well, it's more than an admirable goal. It should be something that goes along with any occupation. Living wages, benefits that are able to provide for yourself and for your family, and a retirement that's secure. In today's world or our economy right now, having your 401k is not necessarily something you have confidently that you can retire on.
Yeah, I think it's definitely what people are looking for would be retirement with dignity, right? Having something that you can count on. And the company that we're going to talk about, Columbia Sussex, is trying to take that away from their workers. Workers who've been counting on this retirement plan, people who've been working there for 15 or 30 years, are not going to have that same kind of security.
Yeah, I saw a study, I think it was on your own website, that said 6 out of 10 workers in general, in low-wage, primarily service sector jobs, are worried at least once a day about money. you know, and we were hearing the economy every day in the news, but this is a little bit more for people that are debating whether they can pay their light bill, whether they can pay the gas to get to their job, whether they can pay their mortgage or their rent, and put food on the table for their children.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the way it breaks down is, you know, which thing are they going to have to skimp on this month? Which bill might they have to put, you know, on the back burner until they can afford to pay it. And I think, you know, that's really a shame, especially for me, thinking as we're going into the holidays, the people who are going to have to make many decisions, right? Like if they get gifts and if they have to work other shifts. And, you know, in our industry in particular, the conference, you know, when conferences are coming, slow down in the winter time. So there's actually a lot less hours that are available for workers right now.
That puts a lot of strain on the holiday festivities. And you mentioned earlier about the union density in these, we call them union cities, where there's a lot of hotels that are already organized. The wages of those employees, you know, are increased quite rapidly. On average in cities where there aren't, you know, that many organized hotels, the average is $7 an hour. Where you have many, many more hotels that are already organized is up to $19 on average. Yeah. Big difference between the two figures.
It's a huge difference. And so our union has taken, you know, tackled that head on. We believe we're an organizing campaign called Hotel Workers Rising, which is the idea that we have a situation of absentee landlords in the United States where you work at a hotel. For instance, the Hilton Crystal City is called a Hilton. It's not actually owned by Hilton. It's a brand. It's owned and operated by a company called Columbia Sussex. Now that company owns 85 hotels throughout the United States. 5 of those are union. The other 80 are not. However, the way I want to draw this together is cities like New York, where the average starting wage is $24 an hour. They have a tremendous union density there, as well as in LA and Chicago, these major cities where there's lots of union hotels. The concept that we believe is that if there's an injustice at one of these hotels, at any place in the United States, we have to stand together and fight, because they're all the same companies, and these companies buy and sell all the time. And so it's everyone's fight. And so that's, you know, the workers here that are fighting have the support of their brothers and sisters in Baltimore. These are other union hotels up in Philadelphia, in Anchorage, Alaska, in Sacramento. And also there's crossover with this company into the casino industry, which is another industry we organize. Oh, wow. And so just recently we had an action where workers from Vegas came out to support their brothers and sisters in Baltimore, and Hilton workers came up, and workers from New Jersey came down, all who work for the same company, who were standing together.
Definitely shows the importance of solidarity. It doesn't matter what state you live in or necessarily exactly what industry, it all comes together. I don't know if it's the slogan, but on the webpage for Hotel Workers Rising, it says, lifting one another above the poverty line.
Yeah, it's union and non-union workers in these industries that we're fighting for.
Because when we increase wages, whether it's union or non-union, it increases, you know, rising tide lifts all boats, and I think that should be the ultimate goal for any organizing campaign, and for any employee that's looking to better themselves.
It's true, it's true. Anytime you see the standard change in one city, such as when a contract fight comes up and those workers fight and get increases, it trickles down to the non-union hotels, because those hotels economically want to stay competitive, the non-union hotels. So what they want to do is give all the workers a wage increase so that they can keep the workers.
So to give it a little more context, this Hotel Workers Rising, it began, I believe, 2006.
It did.
And as I had read on your website again, there was an increase of hotel rates, you know, in these major cities. You know, as I had started off the segment, you know, astronomical prices for the rooms, and you know, the profits that all these companies are making aren't necessarily trickling down to the employees.
No, that's definitely true. There's actually in the industry a phenomenon of an amenity war, where they're fighting to get, you know, those, what you were referring to in the opening segment, these big duvets, these
blankets,
nice pellets, blankets. Well, these beds, you know, part of it is being able to compete one brand to another brand, because anytime you watch TV and there's a commercial and you think, oh, that bed looks so nice, that's where I want to stay the next time I go on my vacation. Well, that's intentional, and it goes hand in hand with the room rate increase. But then, you know, the flip side of this would be the side of how that affects workers. And, you know, housekeepers, those beds weigh about 100 pounds. Wow. So you have a largely minority women workforce doing incredible, like, lifting. So the job that they do is not only a physical one, it's a mental one, and these are actually, you know, fairly dangerous jobs where there's high high incidence of carpal tunnel syndrome, as well as back injuries and knee injuries. And as you probably know, once you get a back injury, that's it. You're going to have that for the rest of your life, as well as a knee injury. So, you know, there's a worker up in Baltimore who just had a knee replacement. She's a housekeeper. You know,
Wow.
she makes less than $13 an hour, and you know, she needs health care to be able to help her with that. She's been working at the hotel for 19 years.
And luckily, that's one of the things that is provided for you through a union contract.
It's true. It's true. And, you know, the unfortunate situation with the Hilton and the other hotel in Baltimore, which is also owned by Columbia Sussex, is that's one of the things that they're increasing the cost of. And so more often than not, when there's an increase, you know, if a hotel gives healthcare benefits, but they're not affordable, well, that's one of the things that the workers, the person is going to skimp on.
Walmart claims to give health care benefits, but the majority of its own employees can't afford to purchase them based on their wages.
Yep.
So beginning in 2006, this Hotel Workers Rising campaign has begun, and I believe a few years after that, working with the nationwide campaign, and correct me if I'm wrong, we brought in several hotels to the Northern Virginia area.
We did.
And it was in collaboration with, I believe, a lot of the Hilton contracts were expiring or were being renegotiated at the time, and they picked up new hotels. You know, workers were able to join the union all over the country. I thought it was a very phenomenal campaign, and I commend you on all of your successes there.
It was actually, at the time, I was working on a hotel called the Glendale Hilton. Now, that's a hotel out in a suburb outside of Los Angeles, which was owned and operated by Hilton. But as part of that campaign, workers from that hotel and workers from the McLean Hilton here in Virginia were fighting together. And that's really part of, that's the epitome to me of what Hotel Workers Rising is. And the Hilton McLean workers got a contract shortly after because of that joint work, and then still continued to help with the Glendale Hilton workers, and who only just got a contract last winter.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So it's a lot of across the country, a lot of workers fought and got the union then, and I believe we had 3 that we won here at that time.
Yeah, there were 2 previously, and we're going to be talking about the first union hotel and the controversy that's going on there in our next segment. So we have 2, picked up 3 more, so there are 5 union hotels in Northern Virginia, which I'm not sure a lot of people know, given our right-to-work status, but there are many options in the state for you to go to a unionized hotel where you know that the employees are being paid a decent wage, have employer-provided health care, and a retirement plan, a defined pension plan. We need to make that as specific as we can. And that they're treated with respect and dignity, which I think goes along as strongly as any wage increase a person could get.
Yeah, and I think if you talk to, a lot of hotel workers, that's the basis of what they're fighting for: equality on the job and dignity.
Absolutely.
Right? Fighting for, they want to create this space, this hospitable space. There's a lot of pride when you walk into these hotels of what they are a part of, and I think it's only fair that they're compensated accordingly, and that's both fiscally and being treated with respect.
Absolutely. I think this unfortunately brings us to the negative side of our conversation, which we're going to pick up in the next segment, which is the campaign that's going on right now against, as we've mentioned, Columbia Sussex. The first unionized hotel in Northern Virginia, or I believe in the state of Virginia, was the Hilton at Crystal City, right next to National Airport. It had a union contract, and then Columbia Sussex bought it. So right now there is a campaign going on to establish a new union contract. They've had one all along, so what's the problem now? Columbia Sussex has just closed the door and says, we don't want to deal with you. We don't want to really talk about wage increases or pensions or any sort of health care. We'll be right back after this moment, talk about Columbia Sussex.
This is firstgov.gov, where we're obsessed with getting you government information.
Brand new student loan applications on the site, baby. This calls for a celebration. Where's your uncle?
So in the end, it was either take the astronaut gig or come work here. What can I say? Duty called.
Dude, that's my cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's Sam's cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. Sam's? No.
Just log on or email us and get what you need.
C, change of address form. That's how it's done.
D, driver's license renewal.
E, emailing Social Security information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, we'll allow it. All right, Ed.
What are those? Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm supposed
using them on land this time!
For all your government information, firstgov.gov.
Oh, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs? Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice-yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound?
How are you doing?
Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice-yearly checkups to improve preventive care and regular lab work. The message from veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
Here again, the Inside Scoop, Virginia.
Welcome back to the Inside Scoop, Virginia. My name is Shannon Sullivan, and I'm your host this evening. Have you ever wondered why productivity on every worker in the United States has increased each and every year? And actually it's hit all-time highs in the last 8 years. But worker wages have stagnated. We just increased the minimum wage, but it kind of fails in comparison to what we need to keep up with inflation nowadays. And it's really no coincidence when you think about it that the widening income gap between the rich and the poor is ever increasing, and that this actually tracks the decline in union density over time. Which brings us to our topic today. What do you do about it? The economy is in the news every single day, and, well, maybe everyone wants to know how they can have their little piece of the American pie, lift themselves up by their bootstraps and enter that middle class. Well, the organizer in me would like to say, join the union. So I have with me, I have Carrie Salgren, who is an organizer with Unite Here, and I have Regina Romero, who is an employee at the Hilton at Crystal City and a proud union member of Unite Here. And we had, right before the break, been talking about, we just gotten into it, the problem at Columbia Sussex. Now you're an employee at the Hilton at Crystal City. What is it like to work there? I guess you might want to start off before Columbia Sussex came in, and then how things have changed. What's your day-to-day job like?
Well, with the new company, a lot of stuff changed. 13 years ago, when we get the first union contract, they've been changing companies because Hilton have a franchise with some different kind of companies. So in the beginning it was easy to get a union contract, but with this company, which is a company who is anti-union, and they trying to eliminate our benefits that we have for a long time, they fighting with us. So what they're trying to offer or change the contract that we have for too many years.
What are they trying to do? What are they trying to take away right now?
Well, they trying to take away the seniority, which is very important for us, and they raise the health insurance, add more job for the workers in each station or different classifications, combine classifications. They don't want to pay sick leave. Their offer is to eliminate sick leave. And to eliminate our benefits that we have for eyes and dental insurance, or they want us to pay more money for that.
So basically they're trying to roll back on any of the worker compensations
and
right now.
something that is terrible, the way how their proposals is, they saying, well, we are not agree what you guys making for hour, and we're gonna cut the salary too. So the last offer that we have for banquet department, banquet department making right now like a regular waiter making like $15–16 an hour, and they offer $7 plus tip.
Wow.
So it's.
I mean, I've worked banquet service for many years and worked in restaurants as well. That's hard work. I mean, and you rely on those tips. I mean, it's a nice little cushion, but you can't take away the salary portion of it. And to think that, and that's slashing it quite drastically. And then on top of that, we're going to make you pay more for health insurance.
Yes.
And take away dental and optical.
Yes.
Those are pretty drastic cuts.
And something very important is our pension. That's our future for us and our children. And if they not agree to keep the pension that we have with United here for a long time. So if we don't have no pension, for me, we want to be working for the paycheck. Wow. We don't have no hope.
No future.
No.
I mean, in the sense that you can retire with some dignity and know that you're not going to be being dependent upon your own children. Wow.
So it's a tough situation right now that we have, and we ask him the business people from everywhere. Right now we trying to fight with them. We cannot fight much inside because they put a restriction for us, like saying we don't like the union, we don't want union, you guys cannot be organizing workers inside, you guys cannot be talking about the union. So that means they are fighting, trying to push us out. Yeah. Not to have to be organized in the union inside.
See, I got to cut in because this is what makes me angry. I mean, not on your part. We've done a lot of labor shows on the Inside Scoop, and a lot of our viewers don't have as much of a concept of what it takes to organize or to work in a union establishment. And to think, you know, someone went through an organizing drive. They said, I want, and a majority of these workers said, I want the union to represent me. And you for years and years have had union contracts negotiated in an amiable relationship with the employer. You know, as the process, as is your due right. And all of a sudden, the company sold, and they said, no, we don't want to do it. You know, forget about that you had a legally binding contract guaranteeing you those rights. Nope.
Yeah,
that's what's wrong with our economy.
Especially this company, we know that they've been doing this from 5 years ago. They started to fight with the union. They started in New Jersey, and after that, Las Vegas, and Baltimore, and now Sacramento, Alaska, and our hotel here in Crystal City. So we know that they don't want to have any obligation to pay our benefits or to keep our benefits. So that's the fight that they have, saying, well, we hate union, we don't like this, we wanna
no, it has nothing to do with the union. I don't want to pay someone what it takes to live in Northern Virginia.
But what I'm saying, they hate union is because if we don't have no union, we cannot keep our benefits, because it's nothing that they have obligation to do it. They can change anything, anytime.
And they can fire anyone at any time with no cause.
Yes.
And that's something that they'd really like to see, is have no, they'd like to be able to subcontract out positions and have no seniority. So basically they could bring in new workers and undercut people like Regino and his coworker Lulit and Hidalgo, people who've been there for a long time and have made this into a good job. They'd like to be able to push them out and pull in, some new people. And I'd be interested, I think other folks would be interested to know what happens to customer service when they're making these cutbacks, when they're increasing the workloads. If you could talk about that and draw that out a little bit more.
When all these affect the customers, where anything they do affecting the attention, the good job that we doing to the guest. So they say all the time, we worry about the guest satisfaction and we want them to be happy, but how can they have make the guests happy if the workers are not happy? We are not happy inside working. We working because we need our paycheck and we have to support our families.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think we'd given a context as far as a timeline to this struggle. The company was bought in 2007, and I believe that there hasn't been a new union contract since October, so we're talking over a year. What's happened in the middle of all of this? Have attitudes changed? Has the union contract been able to be enforced?
No, right now we've been negotiating with them every month, but we don't getting anything clear because they don't offer us something that is going to help our situation. So what the last negotiation that we have, their lawyers, they just came to sit on the table, listen our proposals, and they say we don't have no answers for you until the next.
So they've dragged it out for over a year now.
Yeah. So we've been working with organizing the workers. The workers are they feel disappointed and sad because we cannot get what we have in the past. And then we talk to them, and they agree to support a boycott. So what we did is last April we vote to boycott their business.
That was an overwhelming vote too.
Which is our job. It's a very tough situation that we did, but we don't have no choice. That's the only way that we can at least to keep our job right now. But a lot of stuff been changing, and they've been firing workers for any reason. Some reasons. I'm a leader of the union inside the hotel, and I know what they're doing is giving warning to the workers, and then when they feel like they have too many warnings for any reason, they fire them. So that's what they've been doing, and we've been doing picking lines, protesting outside, and that's one of the reasons is we are here is because we want to tell people who making business with them not to make business with them until at least we can reach some agreement that we're going to have a good future with this company.
Oh, absolutely.
Or something, we inviting everybody to come to help us, to support us. This Wednesday at 5 p.m. we're going to have a big picking line outside. Too many organizations from around the United States. They're going to come because our march, we're going to call the march International Human Rights.
It is December 10th, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back from the break, and hopefully you'll stay with us and give us a call. Thanks so much.
Don't play with matches, don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire!
Why don't you just wash your car at home? When I wash my car, everything runs down the street and down into the storm drains. With all the chemicals and the soaps and waxes, the last thing I want to do is poison my own drinking water.
At least here, it's all contained and recycled on site.
That's why I also take my car in for oil changes instead of doing it myself. I might take a chance on spilling stuff.
You know what the best part is?
What?
More time to kick back and watch the game.
How far would you go to protect the planet?
I want you to build an ark.
Here we go. Okay, that's good. Oh, okay. Ow!
Maybe there's another way.
People, the flood is imminent. Is it too much to ask for a little precipitation?
Go to fightglobalwarming.com to find out what you and your community can do to reduce global warming pollution.
Somewhere around the world, there are men and women of the armed forces risking their lives, helping rebuild communities after natural disasters. collecting toys for needy children, tutoring kids in school. These are your sons and daughters who work to keep us safe, secure, and free. Dedicated men and women who put their country first.
Here again, the Inside Scoop, Virginia.
Welcome back to the Inside Scoop Virginia. My name is Shannon Sullivan. I'm your host this evening. We are talking with several representatives from Unite Here, who represents the hotel industry in Northern Virginia and actually across the Mid-Atlantic. And their campaign right now that's going on against Columbia Sussex. Now, Columbia Sussex represents the employees at Hilton at Crystal City. That's right outside of the National Airport. And they've kind of locked down their collective bargaining. And collective bargaining is basically your union contract that's negotiated between the company and between the union. And it guarantees everything from your wages to your health care benefits, you know, your eye, your dental, your prescription coverages, and also your pension plan. And basically they want to get away with pretty much everything. So I do have with me today Carrie Salgren, who's an organizer with Unite Here, and Regina Romero, who is an employee at Hilton, and thank you so much for being with us. We had started off saying a little bit about Columbia Sussex, but I don't think we'd gotten into how bad a company they are. And they have a lot of bad policies across the United States as far as their union busting and also just their pure business practices. I don't know if you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
So they are predominantly a casino industry company as well as a hotel industry. I was talking a little bit earlier about how they own about 85 hotels in the United States. And so they're very, very large, but one of their basic model of business would be, you know, cutting, you know, labor. That's one of the ways that they save a lot of their money. So, you know, this came across in a labor, you know, an issue that they had in Atlantic City in the Tropicana there, where there was a massive layoff for the casino workers there, which are, you know, our union also represents those workers. Now, what happened, they laid off the workers, and actually, Columbia Sussex is the first company in 22 years to lose its casino license, and that was for many different reasons, but it was because of poor management. Now in the casino industry, which I don't know as much about, that's rare. It's very rare. But what it leads to then is to it not being able to get licenses in other states. They also happened in Vegas, which is a large city for the union, has major union density there. Very much so. They own the other Tropicana there, which was in a labor dispute, which is now settled. So they have settled in the casino side of the company, of the family that they have. But in the hotel industry, like I was saying earlier, they have 85 hotels, only 5 of those are union, and they were bought in a package. So it's not that they had these and were intending on keeping them union. They bought them, and then a year later the contract expired, and it's, you know, no surprise. I mean, of course we hope that companies are going to settle and aren't going to get in a fight.
Their whole business model is, you know, we're going to make a profit off of workers' backs. We're going to cut wages, we're going to cut benefits, we're going to eliminate a retirement, and that's how we're going to make money. You know, forget about the dignity of someone who has to support their family. You know, oh well, that's highly admirable, I can tell.
And Bill Young, the CEO of the company, has, you know, been quoted as saying, "I would never sign a union contract." Now, the workers in Philadelphia, there's a Sheraton City Center hotel there where he did sign a contract. So like 1 out of these 5 union hotels now has a contract. So we know that somehow or another he was persuaded to do that, and so we hope that he will, and we believe that the Hilton Crystal City workers and the Anchorage workers that don't have a union contract right now and the Baltimore workers deserve that same contract.
Absolutely. Has the treatment changed since Columbia Sussex took over management?
Yes.
I mean, general attitude or?
Yes, their attitude is really bad. The management is like they been getting training to bother workers, and they know how to save the money for the company. They don't worry about the workers. They just worry about to save the money. The quality of the products that they buy is very low quality. I'm a cook, and I've been seeing some stuff, frozen stuff, and usually work breakfast. The bacon is not good quality. The last months they've been buying something that is, I never been working with that kind of staff in the kitchen.
Well, you talked before about trying to increase, the satisfaction amongst customers, and to think that we're going to cut corners and increase, decrease our quality is going to have some better end result. I'm not necessarily following their logic there.
We used to have, they call night cleaners, and when they took over the hotel, they eliminate that positions, so they cut the company who cleaned the hotel. Now they add the job for all the workers to clean their own stations.
Wow. Can you elaborate a little bit for us? Because we touched upon it earlier, but I think someone that works in the hotel industry has a better perspective. The safety or the lack of safety that goes into some of these jobs. The pure physical strength it takes to do some of the housekeeping occupations. You work in the kitchen. I can only imagine some of the safety concerns that you have there. And I don't think it's an industry that people necessarily think is having a lot of these concerns that I think we should have you bring to light.
Yeah, I've been worried about how they can keep their license about the health department, because the way how I see the kitchen always is dirty.
Cutting a lot of corners too.
Yes, but I don't know if they know when they wanna do the inspection, because all the time they are ready when the inspection gonna be there. So there's something suspicious there that we don't understand why they don't come to check the kitchen or the hotel when it's dirty.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the housekeepers, what it takes to do their job?
Well, they've been trying to, right now they are cleaning 14 rooms, and I know that's a hard job that they do, and the company proposal is they want to increase the rooms for them
without increasing any other workers. So basically they want them to do more for less and not hire anyone else.
They'd like for them to do more rooms, and what this kind of translates into is they're supposed to do this in an 8-hour workday. Those rooms take far longer to do than an 8-hour workday, and so in some ways this translates into them working longer than that 8-hour shift, or not finishing their rooms, or rushing to finish their rooms, which is one of the ways that some of the injuries that I was talking about earlier occur, because if you move too quickly instead of carefully when you're lifting one of those very heavy beds.
And they're lifting those by themselves. It's not that they work in teams.
No, they don't work in teams. They all have their set rooms that they do every day, and there are no housemen at the Hilton right now. They're all women.
Yeah, they have, but they've been cutting.
They've been cutting more. So in the industry, there used to be housemen who would help with some of the heavy lifting. In a lot of these hotels, they've been changing that. So it's majority women that are doing these jobs, and when they're rushing to get these 14 rooms done, this is when the injuries happen of they slip in the bathroom, so everything you would do in your own house to clean your room, they're trying to do in an incredibly quick period of time, and that's when the injuries occur.
Let me guess, if they rush through their job, they run the likelihood of one hurting themselves, two not doing as good a job and getting reprimanded, and then if they don't get it done, they're going to get reprimanded, because I'm sure there's not overtime.
So we know that we have good benefits when we have the union and our jobs, and we know too that it's another places, another hotels that the workers are suffering because they want to bring the union. We have the union already. We're fighting to keep the union, and other places they fighting to bring the union. So we know that it's going to be a big fight. It's going to be a long time. And we hope one day it's going to change, and we're going to be at least to have freedom to say we can be union, or we have the right to fight for our benefits, to keep our benefits. Nobody going to come and say, okay, we own this building, we are the new owners, and we are against your benefits if we want to cut it anytime we want.
Yeah, there's nothing more basic in American society, and I will stand by that statement, than the right to self-organization. To have you and your peers say, I want to hire a union organizer, a union to bargain on my behalf. Because, hey, I got car insurance, I got health insurance, I've got homeowners insurance, I need job insurance. And, hey, there's nothing more basic. And to know that you have those guaranteed in writing in a legal document, I think is what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to unions. A lot of terms get waved about, you know, we have the $70 per hour automobile worker, you know, they claim there's excess, or whatever the trumpeted up, you know, exclamations are of the union movement. And I always love the thuggish nature. We're always two organizers here, we're always accused of being thugs in the process.
I think a lot of what people are fighting for are basics. Everything that the Hilton Crystal City workers and the Baltimore Sheridan City Center workers are fighting for are basics, and the question is whether or not this company is going to do the right thing by its workers, and repeatedly they're choosing not to, which is why it's resulted in the workers calling for a boycott, which is really bringing into light, and this is a great opportunity for it, what's going on at the hotel. When, you know, guests walk into the hotel, part of what the workers want and what they're working for is that it's a beautiful stay. But it upsets me, it would upset me to find out that that's contrary to what's actually happening. You know, like the bellmen do a wonderful job at this hotel, but, you know, what happens when they go home? Are they able to, you know, put food on the table? That's the real question. And so talking to customers is a large majority of what I do, and I work with Regino and some of the other workers there to get the word out to those customers and to the community members of this is what this employer, it's a Kentucky-based employer, is doing in Virginia to the workers of Virginia and the workers in Maryland. So, you know, this is the situation of an absentee landlord, and how do we hold them accountable? And really these companies, this company in particular, thinks about money. And that's the bottom line.
The bottom line. And this has been going on since October of 2007. You know, when we're talking about labor law, you know, it is beyond any sort of reasonable expectation that collective bargaining goes on for over a year. These are people's livelihoods we're talking about. And that's why there's a fundamental need to change our labor law in America, because the understanding when it was established originally, you know, was that there was, I guess, almost a paternalistic reach from the employer down to the employees. They were going to care for them. There was a social contract. That's obviously not the case now. We're going to cut every corner, whether it's, you know, on the health side, it's the wage side, it's the pension side. We're not going to give people what they deserve. And that's absolutely what it is.
That's the basis of it. You know, they want to, you know, and it comes down to like the smallest things that actually happen in the hotel, like in the Baltimore property, and you could speak to this in the Hilton one, but you know, like the number of workers they have working in the laundry, and then how they start to split that up. So, you know, they are sending some of the laundry out to do and still doing some of it inside the hotel, but they change it on a whim, so it's not actually a job that you can have security in, because it's shifting and moving around, you know, kind of at will where they're at. So, you know, you see it in like when they're calling people into work, when they're not, and this is how seniority plays into it. So it's not that what you're referring to, this system of caring for the employee, for taking care of them and being concerned about them. It's really like they'd really have an at-will labor force that they could have when they want,
contract
not take care of
at any moment, which is one of the things they're looking to nail down in the collective bargaining agreement in your contract, is that you have that job security, you know, based on seniority, so that you know what you're going to be able to do in the future.
Yeah, we know that Columbia Success and other properties where they don't have no union, they do whatever they want. And then management allowed to do our job. It's like, okay, they decide that they don't have no hours for the hourly employees. They can send you home, and the management can do the job.
Wow. When we come back from this short break, we're going to talk a little bit more about the technical aspect of being out, or being a participant in a boycott, and what that means to the community, to particularly maybe the allies that the union has, and what it means for the employees as they approach the Christmas season.
Some dreams are universal, dreams that inspire us. Multiple sclerosis is a devastating disease that changes lives forever. The National MS Society does more for people with MS than any organization in the world. But we can't do it alone. To get involved, visit us online at nationalmssociety.org or call 1-800-FIGHT-MS. This is why we're here. Because nobody dreams of having multiple sclerosis.
What's wrong with this picture? Half of young Americans can't locate economic powers like Japan and India. 20% can't even find the Pacific Ocean. Without geography, our children aren't ready for the world. Geography is everywhere. It's incredible creatures, rhythm, fashion, flavor. It's economics and politics. It's change. Understanding connections between people and places is critical in the 21st century. That's why we created mywonderfulworld.org. Go there now for your free parent and teacher action kits and give our kids the power of global knowledge. Because kids who understand our world today can succeed in it tomorrow.
Here again, the Inside Scoop, Virginia.
Thank you for coming back to the Inside Scoop, Virginia. My name is Shannon Sullivan. I'm your host this evening. We are talking about the struggle at the Crystal City Hilton right outside of National Airport and the new owners, Columbia Sussex, that took over the company in October of 2007, but has since gone about trying to break the union. Let's just put it very simply. They've shut down most sincere collective bargaining. The union and the employer are in the middle of trying to come up with a new union contract, and it's pretty much at a stalemate right now. Although they continue to bargain, Columbia Sussex wants to cut such basic things as wages, benefits, make it more expensive for them to be able to provide those benefits, get rid of benefits, eye and dental, and also to reduce or eliminate the pension plan, which is the security for so many people to have a defined benefit plan. We were talking about Columbia Sussex and the boycott that the employees voted for. Basically, they voted for it overwhelmingly, and I need to make sure that's stated very emphatically. To vote for a boycott of the place you work at is a very, very, I guess, what's the right word? Encouraging, very proud? What's the right word to put there?
For us in the beginning, I used to say to my coworkers, and they used to tell me that's painful. Okay. Painful is painful. Like you love your job, you love where you work, you love the building, you love your people who's with you there, and you have to decide how you're gonna stop these companies to cut your benefits. So it's a tough decision, but we did it, and 90% of the workers, they approved the boycott, and now we continue trying to give information for the guests as much as we can to let them know that what is the reason that we're doing that.
Now, there's obviously a big difference between a strike and a boycott, so people understand, what we're talking about. A strike, the employees are still working at the facility. They are, however, going and talking to customers, regular clients of the hotel, and asking them to patronize other facilities. Yeah. So how has that impacted the customers so far? So
yes, the customers, or the workers, continue to work their regular shifts, and then on top of that come out and have regular leaflets where they talk to the customers in front of the hotel. Also go and talk to customers, meet them where they're at, right? Arrange meetings to speak with them, as well as talking to community supporters, since the workers are their constituency, right? In a lot of cases, like the members of the union, the members of this hotel are the members of the community of Arlington. And so a lot of those conversations are about what is Columbia Sussex? What does it mean that that they're a bad employer here in the Crystal City, Arlington area, and how customers and community members, because community members also use hotels, what it means to practice consumer power and to really think of where you're putting your money, because in a lot of cases nonprofits or like-minded folks who are putting money into these hotels, that's hard-earned money. Or travelers who are coming to the DC metropolitan area, a lot of them are working class folks who are coming here from other parts of the country to vacation or for a business meeting, and it's upsetting to hear when you walk to the hotel what's happening, right? That these workers' pensions are being cut, that they're not going to have sick days, that this is stuff that this company is proposing. Most customers would like to hear about that beforehand, and so it's really beneficial to be able to talk to you about that and to really talk to customers about that your money speaks, right? And if you're not giving your money to this company, give it to one of the hotels down the street that is union, that is supporting their workers and those families and the families of Arlington.
Absolutely. What type of, do you have any allies? Have you built a constituency of support around this Hotel Workers Rising campaign?
So here in the metropolitan area, the Arlington area, there's a large number of churches who have signed on are in support, religious leaders as well, and also the Central Labor Council here has also signed on support, and all the unions and the members that are involved, the workers that are involved with that. Beyond that, there's some schools that are supportive, and other community groups. So in the DC area, in DC proper, I guess you would call it, and the Arlington and the outskirts of Arlington area.
I think it's something that needs to be pointed out, because it's not just the union, and the employees versus a company and the rest of the world. There's the community of Arlington and all of the networks that flower out from there. It's not that someone's isolated in their place of employment. There's so many people that care about their well-being and the well-being of their family. Have you felt that impact when you're out leafleting or when you're?
Yeah, people they want to hear what's going on. For them, it's like new, because our hotel is the first hotel who brought the union in North Virginia, but they are they worry about when we are outside protesting or lifting the papers, and they always want to know more information about what we're doing and why we're doing. So we have to explain to them what is the reason that we're doing that.
It definitely takes a lot of explanation, because there's the misconceptions of what a union does, or maybe just not an understanding of what a union does. What type of successes have you had in turning away business? I mean, have you been able, you had been reaching out to people that have regularly booked, say, conventions or other type of functions in the banquets. What's the success been there?
Well, being the business is being slowed down in banquet. We didn't have any Christmas parties like we used to.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's because the boycott or because the economy. But we know that we are very slow. They've been laying off people. I know that's affect the workers. But what we have in mind is to have a future. We don't worry about today. We worry about tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So that's why we're doing that.
So we have inauguration coming up, big day in the DC metropolitan area on January 20th. Is the hotel booked?
All the hotels in the area are booked, including the Hilton Crystal City, but we are actually launching a campaign to educate, particularly since there's going to be a lot of Democrats in the area.
I would think of the most sympathetic audience that's coming to these functions.
So we're going to have actions that lead up to that and be speaking to the folks who have booked in there. It's going to be difficult because there's a lot of people are trying to find any nook and cranny to stay in DC. So, we're going to have regular actions in front of the hotel leading up to that day. We're probably going to, be there 5 days out talking to folks, and hopefully, one of the plans is getting them to sign pledges to say that they're actually in support of the workers and what this fight is about. We'll hopefully get some people to move and stay somewhere else.
You went into my next comment. I was going to ask how people can get involved, how they can help. There's pledges that they can sign?
There's pledges that they can sign, and I guess I could give a number if people wanted
Certainly.
to.
Is that the 410 number with Hotel Workers Rising? I believe we have that on your screen. You can go to Hotel Workers Rising, find out all about not just this campaign, but the campaigns across the country where they have organizing campaigns and also collective bargaining campaigns. And feel free to put your email down so you can get regular updates, and call the number if you have questions or if you would like to get involved with the campaign. We have a rally coming up.
Yes.
You know, what are we looking for people to bring or to participate? How is this working?
We've been planning the march for a long time, and we want to have a big march to show North Virginia that we have that we are fighting about our right, and we want everybody to come. And they can bring, if they want to help us, they can bring some canned food or any kind of food. They want to dry food, seeds, whatever. We have some co-workers. They been working 2 days, 1 day a week. Some of them
need a little extra assistance.
Yes,
especially being the holiday time.
Yes, so we want to be giving some basket for them. And we have some holiday party for them, and then we want to give it for each worker.
Would a stuffed animal or a small toy for the children be appropriate?
Yeah. Okay. Anything they want to support us.
Now this is International Human Rights Day, December 10th. This upcoming Wednesday, they're meeting at 5 p.m. It's at the hotel itself. That's the Crystal City Hilton at National Airport. I'll just give you the address specifically. It's 2399 Jefferson Davis Highway in Arlington. Now, if you want to get involved, you can visit hotelworkersrising.org, or you can call 410-659-2191, extension 12 for more information. See how you can get involved, or if you have any questions as well.
And that's actually my extension. So
there we go. We have the expert that would be specifically picking up the line.
Also, they can go on unitedhere.com.
Unitedhere.com.
And they can find out our hotel, how we do them, if we want to have contract, when we want to have, what we do them, and to support the boycott.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I think there's another interesting thing for customers or people who want, when they're traveling to other cities, are curious to know where those union hotels are, and also where other labor disputes would be in the country, because there are several labor disputes in different cities going on right now. And so if you log into unitehere.org and you go to the Hotel Union Guide, you can click on that and search by city. So if you're traveling, you can find a hotel that's union, free of labor dispute, or there's also another column that says
boycott list.
There's a boycott list.
Wonderful. Well, as we approach the holiday season, I want to thank the two of you for joining us, and hopefully out there we can get more reputable employees to understand that people aren't just a paycheck, they're not just that little bit of health insurance that they have to pay out each month, but they deserve respect, they deserve dignity, and that hopefully their contract with Columbia Sussex can be resolved very shortly, and so that the employees there can have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for joining us on the Virginia Inside Scoop, and we'll be back with another labor episode tomorrow night with the UAW.